The only thing that is self evident is the very sense of existence itself. Everything else requires memory of or thinking, which is always limited and subjective. Even if you're, let's say, two people in the same place, not just two people, but even two twins looking at the same thing, there is always a difference in the way we look at it because the looking is conditioned by the memory, by the experiences, by knowledge, and so on. So, the object in front of our eyes we think is self evident, but it's actually not because it is only known through the medium of memory. And the medium of memory is always subjective. Whereas the sense of presence is prior to all memory, and therefore it does not require any mediation of any kind. It is the only immediate experience. The word immediate means without mediation. It is therefore the only self evident truth. That's why it is said that the truth of presence, of being, is more direct than the gooseberry on one's palm. Normally, it is used as a simile that things are as clear as the gooseberry on one's palm. But there is a beautiful work called Atma Vidya by Ramana Maharishi, which says Ati Sulabham. It's so easy and so simple that even the gooseberry on one's palm is not as simple because the gooseberry on one's palm again requires memory to even recognize it, and one who is not exposed to a gooseberry will not even recognize it. So it's not as self evident. Whereas the presence is so self evident that it requires no cultural knowledge, no memory, and there is no difference between not just two people standing next to each other, but between any two people. Everything else is different. The physical, mental, intellectual, energetic capabilities are all different. But the only thing that is identical is the very sense of existence. And that is the flavor of stillness. So, as long as we are trying to do something to realize stillness, we are still using our memory, our knowledge, which is conditioned. When we recognize this truth, that the truth can never be approached through the mind, that very recognition quietens the mind. The mind is essential, thoughts and memory are all essential for doing the things necessary for transacting in life. But the stillness of being is prior to all thinking. And it is direct insight that brings stillness, not effort. And the insight is that the false can only be seen as false. That is, thoughts which bring forth any kind of experience based on conditioning is always limited and can never touch the infinite. But the infinite is already here as the presence. So the very attempt to seek what is already here is what's preventing what is already here from shining through. So when we see this clearly, that all effort to realize is ultimately an exercise in futility, that deep recognition is surrender. When we totally see that, all effort ceases and there is stillness. The moment we identify with effort, we identify with the false sense of me. And we, through the effort, sustain this false sense of me and hope that one day it will come upon the infinite. And this is the game that it's playing, which never happens. So, to recognize this now, and therefore dropping all efforts, that brings about stillness. Then, if any thought rises of any kind, those thoughts can be simply seen as waves in the ocean of the infinite. And they fall in their right place. What needs to be responded to can be responded to, and others dissolve on their own. But there is no sense of me then identifying with these waves and then trying to realize anything beyond these waves. When there is stillness, everything is included in it. The infinite ocean of being and all the waves of becoming, of movement, are all part of the infinite. And when there is stillness, that stillness is the fullness of being and the movement of all becoming without any conflict. So we simply, by recognizing through insight the futility of all seeking in any direction, come upon the stillness effortlessly.